was camp?
It's the apocalypse!
It was good.
She goes away for 3 days and all we get is good?
She goes away for 3 days and all we get is good?
Yeah, sounds right.
Asked and answered.
Yeah. Back to the game.
Riley is officially a teenager now. You aren't packed yet?
I'm the worst!
Overreact much?
I barely touched it.
Let the professional handle this.
I'm too gross to go anywhere ever again! Well, that's a preview of the next 10 years.
I'm Anxiety. I am just such a huge fan of yours. We're Riley's new emotions. Wow!
Remember when we all finally came up to headquarters?
Nostalgia.
That was like 30 seconds ago, nostalgia.
Yeah, those were the days.
Pillow fight!
Bring it on!
No, anger. Ooh, walkie-talkies. Check, check, check. Can you hear me? I gotta press the button. Go for Joy. Copy that. Over. Oh, I love them. Just don't look down and keep moving. She'll be okay, right?
50-50.
There's a part 2.
We're going!
Boom, there you go. That was the trailer for Inside Out 2, arriving on June 14th in theaters. I'm QEP, this Nerds Rule the World, and joining me to talk all things Inside Out is my pal, Heather Hurd. How are you, Heather?
Good, how are you?
I am good, my friend. I'm ready to talk all things Inside Out because I know there's a lot of fans. I know my family household are some of the biggest. My wife and daughter just love this film. They love Pixar, but just this particular film of the Pixar films is one of their faves. And it's special, y'all. So we'll chat up the story, talk about the characters as we always do, some of our favorite moments, favorite characters, least favorites. And, in all of that will be our review as well. So let's talk all things Inside Out 2. Heather, the story, synopsis, briefly without spoiling, because we don't want to spoil for y'all. We want y'all to enjoy the film. We have Riley Anderson, our lead character from the last Inside Out film. She's getting older, as age does with all of us. We all get older. We all go through new things. But when you go from a child to get to an adult, there's that weird teen phase called puberty. Puberty strikes our young Riley. And with that comes a whole new set of emotions. So, the emotions that we had before, like joy, fear, anger, sadness, now get coupled with anxiety, with envy, with embarrassment. Just all of those feelings start coming in and we start bottling our emotions. And that is the journey that we're seeing in this. And literally, and so written so well, in the characters that make up these emotions, that happens throughout this film. As in the real world, Riley is now going through like a summer camp program for hockey, and her friends that were her teammates and friends growing up, she finds out that they're going to a new school. So that leads to her tackling with that knowledge of self, of where does she go and fit in now in the future. She's making new friends at this camp, and that coupled with puberty couples to an amazing film. Again, it's a film that we all know because we all grow up. We all can relate to that as adults. To the kids that are seeing this film, they see that in this. It's just so well done. That's basically the synopsis of the story of just going through puberty, friends, and where do they go from here after the summer camp? Are they going to still be friends and all that? How do we just deal with life? The voice cast for this, some of the best voice actors and just actors really in the business. Joy is back. Amy Poehler. The new kind of character in Anxiety is Maya Hawke. We have Kensington Tallman, who's our Riley. Disgust is Liza Lapira. Tony Hale is Fear. Lewis Black, Anger. Phyllis Smith is Sadness. Ayo Edebiri, who we all love. She's been blowing up. I love that she's now in this because she has such a great voice. Is Envy. Lilimar is Valentina. Grace Liu is Grace. Bree is Sumayyah Nuriddin-Green. Adèle Exarchopoulos is Enui. The mom is Diane Lane. Kyle MacLachlan is the dad. Paul Walter Hauser's embarrassment. Oh, I was curious who that actor was. Yvette Nicole Brown is Coach Roberts. Pouchy is James Austin Johnson. Love that new character. Y'all are going to love him too. Bluefy, love Bluefy, is Ron Funches, one of my favorite comedians. Directors Kelsey Mann, and the writers are Meg LeFauve, Dave Holstein, as well as Kelsey Mann. And there's also a whole slew of other cast members and crew that I haven't touched upon. I'm just reading briefly from the main page on IMDb. That's our cast and crew. Heather, were you a fan of the original? Lead me into Inside 2 with your thoughts before we get into our review.
Sure. I enjoyed the first Inside Out. I do feel like this movie was a little bit more young. It was a younger audience targeted. There are some Pixar has a good range, I think, when it comes to creating films. They do movies kind of for the really young and kind of for the family level. And Inside Out kind of felt for the young for me. So it didn't grab me, but it was definitely a fun film. I enjoyed it. If I would say this. Going to where we went to the movie is a 2-hour drive for me. It literally took longer for us to get to the movie theater than it was to actually watch the movie. So that was my feeling of number one. I think that's a great way to put it.
Interesting. Okay.
I put in 2 hours of time to go see a movie that I usually don't do. So
gotcha.
I think I don't think I got PvP on that. I don't think I got him.
No, I was saying, like, I feel you on that. Just separating myself from the film. I feel you. That can.
No, I mean it as I enjoyed the first one enough that I was willing to go on a 2-hour ride.
Oh, got it. Gotcha. Yeah. That is true. So yeah, I'm just used to the drive. I know it's terrible, but y'all hear us. It's just. Anyway, that drive. But Inside Out 2, loved the first one, cried my behinds off because I could feel it, I could understand it. I feel like it was written so well. Again, it spoke to the kids, but also spoke to adults without speaking down in a lot of ways. And I think this one does as well. I see your point that you feel it's a little bit more for the kids on this one. I think it's. I would have to slightly disagree on that, Heather. I think it's still very central and speaks to adults. I see your point where you may have wanted more adult humor, I guess, if you will. I don't know. I think it was relatable in a sense. We know that journey and that right. I think there is certain like hidden stuff though, especially where there's this Final Fantasy type character that were meant for us as adults. I don't think the kids understand that because I think they're too young for the Final Fantasy characters. But I thought this was another great installment. I do wish some of the new characters, we got a little bit more of them outside of Anxiety, who is a great character and I feel is very central into what we all what we deal with in life is anxiety. That's like a number one thing, and especially going out to the world, and especially when you're maturing. So I can understand why anxiety was the focus of the new characters, but I would have liked to have a little bit more, especially of Envy, Ayo Edebiri, because I think we all are in love with Ayo Edebiri from The Bear, from she's our Mary Jane. Is Mary Jane? No. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. April O'Neil, not Mary Jane. That's a whole nother universe. She's our April O'Neil, but Ayo Edebiri is just fantastic. So I just wanted more of our little Envy. She's that little character right there. She's awesome. And just all these other characters, Paul Walter Hauser as embarrassment. This emo character, Anui, I guess, is pretty sweet. How do you pronounce it?
Ennui.
Oh, and what does that mean? What is that? Is emotion? It feels emo.
The easiest way to explain it is boredom. It's just this feeling of That's really how the best way to put it. It's just
that's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, I enjoyed the film, and I guess what I would ask you, Heather, is what was your least favorite moment and favorite moment?
Well, we haven't even talked about my feelings about this film altogether. You kind
of started a little bit in there. I apologize. My apologies.
It's okay.
Well, go ahead. Feelings and then.
It's okay. When it comes to this movie itself, it was definitely fun. My least favorite moment. There was a pretty even steadiness to this film when it comes to the quality of the film. So I really wouldn't say much about what I didn't like. And it might just also be that I can't think of anything right off the top of my head. There were some moments where it was just like, we could probably have had this cut, or maybe there was more information that was cut. But there were definitely some moments where you could see that things were cut for shortening. And an hour and a half film, you can't complain about an hour and a half film. I'm not saying anything like that. My favorite moment, though, it was, I'm not going to go too deep into it because we're not supposed to be doing spoilers anyway, so this is an early review. The ending in which you understand where anxiety is coming from. One thing that anyone in this modern day, Gen Xers, millennials, primarily, some Gen Zers we're always trying to plan for the future. And it racks our brains to the point of absolute mental destruction. So that was probably my favorite moment, was to see how anxiety is truly described. Once again, I'm not going to get into how they did it or what they were doing, but the climax was a perfect example of what anxiety truly is. And I really, really, really like that. So that was my big thing. And I really don't want to say anything too negative about this movie because I really don't have a lot of negative things to say. I do think that they kind of voiced this to an audience to make to explain what a feeling is, what an emotion is, and I think that's okay that I didn't feel as directly connected to that. But that didn't mean that it was a bad movie. It just meant that that it was something that I think that is targeted at a group of kids. And it's not just young kids. It could be, she's a preteen, she is a teenager. It's coming into yourself, it's owning up to yourself. And honestly, that's like, okay, I like that. I like that I think they could have done more with it. Because it doesn't need to be as simple as it was when it was just the 5 of them. She has a much wider range of emotions now. So with that being said, I enjoyed, though, that this was a stronger plot. The first film was a very simplified, like that's a word, was a very simple, easy plot, because that's where she was growing up, she was moving, she was doing things, and you wanted to really hone in on her exact emotions at that very moment in time. So not having a super in-depth plot worked very well for the first one, whereas now she's literally becoming more in-depth. She's growing, she's learning new things. So having a stronger plot was definitely important for this movie. I didn't like, that's not the right word. I didn't enjoy this movie as much as the first one, but originality is what originality is. You literally, you can't recreate the wheel. Like, you just can't, or it's hard to do. You can only top yourself. You can't recreate it. So with that being said, I did enjoy the first one more, but I did really like that they did work to make this a stronger plot in the second one. So
agreed.
If that answered your questions.
Yes, agreed. I would say my least favorite thing about the film is I wanted more. Mm-hmm. Because I wanted more of the character, again, like I said earlier, more of these new characters to give in a little bit more life. And I don't know, there's this storyline wise, I can't exactly pinpoint it, but I just I wish it was actually longer. You said it was a shorter film, so maybe that time could have gave more time to develop more of the characters and give a little bit more life to them. So that would be, I guess, my least favorite thing. I'm with you on like one of the favorite moments was that ending, and I won't spoil there, but I'll also add, so I don't spoil in that respect, is when they take some of our old characters and they kind of bottle up those emotions. We go into the vault of ourselves and we learn some deep, dark secrets, and we're learning past kind of emotions and characters in this particular scene. And we meet some new characters there, in addition to the new emotions that are now kind of running things inside Riley. And that was really cool. There's a particular character that I said earlier that's voiced by Ron Funches, who plays this character called Bluefy. It's an animated character within this CGI animation. It's like 2D in this 3D. Loved it because I grew up, well, I didn't grow up, but we raised our daughter with Dora the Explorer. And there's a particular character called Map, and had this other character called Pouchy. Well, in this it's called Pouchy. In Dora it's called Map. And it had similar stuff going on there. And just, I love Ron's voice. And there's also, again, this Final Fantasy style character, which is super cool. that was just some cool moments there. I was laughing out loud. It was pretty good. So a great film. I'm with you with Heather that the first one's probably a better film, but I wouldn't say, again, it's kind of hard. This film's just right there in that wheelhouse. It's written so well and just it's so good. And I echo everything Heather said. But yeah, I prefer the first one, but this one was another installment, if you will, and expanding. I just want more. I want to see these characters. Maybe, I think there's still life for an Inside Out 3 as the character, because there's still more maturing to go. Or just let's go through puberty a little bit. Let's turn this into like maybe a series on Disney Plus, and let's see these characters run the show through other situations. I want to see that because, in this, she's going through puberty while at a summer camp. Let's go to school and deal with all those emotions, looking at a boy or relationships, because in this, I feel kind of like there's maybe an LGBTQIA bent in this one, Heather, with Riley and the Valentina character. No, you didn't feel that?
No, this is actually something I wanted to bring up just because I'm not going to get on a soapbox. I literally am not. I'm going to say this very,
we don't
very
do that here either.
No, I don't do that. Just because there is more representation doesn't mean that you have to go seek it because you want to be hateful for it. I know when I was a little girl, I was a fan. I was a fan of other people at my school. I was a fan of other women. I mean, yes, did I grow into my own sexuality? That's a different story. But you can be one gender and be a fan of someone who is a little bit older. You can be a fan of someone that you want to be. They can be your hero, and there does not need to be any relationship other than friendship out of that. There's already been the movie hasn't come out yet, and there's already been hate about this relationship between Riley and Val.
The people are saying that?
Yes. And
I didn't see that.
I will say this as someone in the LGBTQIA community. I love that there is more representation. We need more representation just across the board for everybody. But it's one of those where just because there's something doesn't mean it has to be. And I honestly, what I would love to see once again, very, very pro representation, what I would love to see is more of that strong female relationships that we are finally starting to see a little bit more of in film. It's not absolutely everyone hates them. It's people just want to be friends. And Riley just really, really wants to be friends with Val. She wants to learn and grow and be best friends with Val. And I think that's okay. That's okay. So I know that there are some concepts, but you don't have to hate something just because there is an appearance of it. Let these girls be friends. It's okay. You don't have
for those
to.
that are feeling that way, for you.
It's not you. It's to the assholes who are already on the internet complaining about this.
Yeah,
it's okay. If two girls don't hate each other, that doesn't mean they're lovers. It just means that they want to be friends. That's it. It's okay.
Yeah, and I think personally, I read it that way or would like to read it that way, and you can read it another way. You can read it however you want to take their relationship. I thought it was beautiful, whether it is or not. And it's just, I just want more of that. And you just form your own, like we should all do. We shouldn't care what other people want to do with themselves. Let them love. Just let love, So I just enjoyed that. But yeah, great film. Inside Out 2, y'all. Make room for those new emotions. I see that there. Yes. And I want a series. Would you like a series with these characters? Do you think there's still juice in Inside Out?
I'm sure that there's still juice in it. Whether it's a series or not, I'm not really sure. I'm sure that I would honestly be surprised if there was not a 3 or if there was not some sort of continuation somewhere. I will say that. I would be surprised.
Yeah, I'd actually, you just made me think I'd take the character a little bit older, like having their own kids. We see that kind of full circle moment, if you will, because a lot of, they do trilogies, film does trilogies in a way. Full circle moment to now her becoming a mother, dealing maybe with death of mom, her actual parents, dealing with death, and then bringing in new life. Ooh, I'm ready to write that right now, Heather. Like, as we say goodbye, we also bring in the new. Let that be the third film. But I would like to expand these other new characters in like a series as well. And I would love to see like each one have their moment controlling Riley. Anyway, we're fans, y'all. And Inside Out 2 is great. Another well-written, beautifully illustrated film. Highly recommend. There you go. Any other thoughts, Heather, before we get up out of here?
No, that's it. Enjoy it. Have fun. it's just it's a silly fun movie. Enjoy it and have fun with it.
There you go. All right, y'all. Inside Out 2 is in theaters June 14th from Disney and Pixar. Heather Hurt, your boy QP. Nerds rule the world. Let's talk all things Inside Out 2 in the comments below. All right, y'all, NRW Nerds Rule the World, your boy TP and Heather Hart. We just got out of the press screening for Inside Out 2, Where the World of Majestic. Initial thoughts coming out the joint.
Oh, right there, y'all. Right to me.
Embarrassment.
Yeah, that's lots of embarrassment. I'm him.
Disgust.
I'm him. Not disgust.
Anger.
It was fun. It was definitely fun. There's a lot of thoughts coming out of it, though. Like, that's one of the things that I think takes. There's a lot more plot to this one than there was the first one. Yeah. So I think we need to convalesce on the concept and the thought right now.
Definitely. We're gonna have a full review on the channel because I gotta get all my thoughts together. This was deep, man. These joints are really well written. Shout out to Disney Pixar, the whole team over there. They brought all of the great cast back again, some new cast, but just everybody involved really puts together an amazing project. I can't wait for my family to see this, but we will be putting a full review together, and we're out of here because of time. So NRW Nerds Rule, stay tuned for our full review.